Hello class, my name is Mayra Robledo. I'm sorry for all the technical issues. For some reason the audio didn't come out in my previous video, so unfortunately I had to record it again. However, like I said, my name is Mayra Robledo, and today's review is going to be a bit of a book review and also as well as a review of the country of Germany. That's a nation that I chose for my videography. The books that I'm going to be reviewing today is Exploring Law and Culture. This one's by Dorothy Bracy. I'm going to give a brief summary of the book, or some of the points from this book, as well as use an article that I found from the Foreign Policy Analysis on human trafficking in Germany. Hence, that's going to be the issue that I'm going to be speaking about in the nation of Germany, as well as some research that I found from Equality Now. So to begin this book review, I'm going to give, like I said, I'm going to give some brief points on the book Exploring Law and Culture by Dorothy Bracy. I'm also going to give a description of how the culture affects law and how policy is made because of culture and values of a society. Also give a brief description of the three legal systems in the world as described by Bracy, and then of course elaborate on the criminal justice issue in Germany. But first of all, in the Exploring Law and Culture, Bracy opens up the book by explaining, he gives an example of the differences in legal age drinking. In the United States, for example, the minimum drinking age is 21. In Canada, it's 18. He then therefore says that, okay, well, in Switzerland, it's 14. So he's like, was this all random? Were these random events? Did these countries just say, oh, well, this sounds like a good drinking age? Or was it because each of these nations chose this law because of the values that they had in each society? So he kind of says, were they random events, or was it because of the values in each of the nations? So that was something that was very interesting in the book to start off the book. So then we all know, of course, that culture is shared assumptions, values, interests, and behaviors of a community. It's basically what a community, what is viewed good or bad in a community. The community's values plays a very essential role in how the community is going to develop their laws or their values. So if my community thinks that it's okay for, basically thinks that it's okay for the drinking age to be 18, and the majority of the public decide that, and it's accepted by the society as a whole, then therefore the lawmakers should make the drinking age 18, because they are supporting the values and the customs of the actual society. So it's something very basic, but it's something that was in the book of Bracy, Exploring Law and Culture. The author then explains the three broad categories in which values fall under. The first is a consensus, where the law reflects the values of the vast majority. Second, the laws can also be a result of conflict between groups within a culture. And of course, third is compromise, where you have different interest groups, like whether it's political, religious, social. They form alliances and they negotiate the values and then form the law into the society. So those are the three different categories in which values fall under. Like I said, also Bracy also gives an example of three legal systems in the world. And I was reading into the book, so she divides it into Western law, religious law, and traditional law. In Western law, it's characterized by the law made by human beings, basically the human role in what makes the law. The second is religious law. The religious law is pretty self-explanatory. It's like the divine law. It's formulated by a god or spiritual beings, depending on what society you're in, and it's meant to bring human behavior and really harmonize it with the divine. So that's like religious law, kind of like Islamic law is an example of religious law. Then we have traditional law. Traditional law, Bracy explains, is localized by the people who abide by this law feel that it is proper form of law for them. So basically like your hunting and gathering societies, the small communities where everyone knows each other's name and so forth. So in those societies, they all decided, okay, what's the best for us, and then kind of made that their law. They usually have the same customs, religion, beliefs, values, and so forth. So it's really those small communities where they have that traditional law. But after looking at those three legal systems in the world, of course, Western law really reflects the law of Germany. So from there, I identified that the Western law legal system is the one that is in place in Germany, but also I looked into a critical criminal justice issue in Germany. One of the issues that I came across was the issue of prostitution. Prostitution, however, is legal in Germany. Of course, let me explain that. But the thing is that along with prostitution, there was an issue of human trafficking that came because of a policy that was accepted like prostitution. When they legalized it in 2002, there was a lot of human trafficking as a result of it. So it's something that I work closely in my own personal job. And so I did some research in the European region, of course, specifically Germany. So I did some research and I found out that there was like I said, prostitution was legalized in Germany in 2002, and as a result it had a huge migration of people, especially from Eastern Europe, shuttling people illegally into Germany. Of course, a lot of them were women. They were transported in there to be sex workers in Germany as a result of the legalization of prostitution. And I'll go in and describe a little more on the research that I found because of the legalization of prostitution. So like I said, a lot of these individuals that were brought into Germany are from Eastern Europe. A lot of them were brought illegally. And they were also, I did some research, according to Equality Now, a lot of these women that were trafficked into Germany, they would tell local cops or the people that would go and interview them that originally when they were in Eastern Europe, first of all, where they were living in Eastern Europe, usually in Bosnia or Hungary or the Czech Republic, they were in poor living conditions. They usually came from a low socioeconomic status. So basically they just wanted to get out of their country and find a brighter future. And so they were promised a lot of times by these transnational criminal organizations, hey, we got some work for you in Germany, you know. Yeah, we have. Some of them would tell them flat out, you're going to be a prostitute, but you'll be making this much money. And then some of them would lie, say, oh, you're going to be a nanny. We got a job as a housekeeper in Germany. I mean, you're going to have a nice room, you're going to have a place to stay, we'll take care of you. And others just said, oh, well, there's all these kind of opportunities that you can go into, and we'll kind of help you get started. But they didn't. What they didn't tell them is the horrible conditions that they're going to be living in Germany, as far as sleeping with many different men at night, not being allowed out of their quarters, being supervised all the time, even beaten. So of course they were brought illegally, and then they were lied to basically of the job that they were going to be carrying out. So that's some of the things that I was looking into when I looked into the whole human trafficking aspect. Of course, I did some research and I found that there's a huge, these mega brothels have been emerging in Germany as a result of the prostitution, and these are the places where a lot of these women are brought in illegally and of course are trafficked. So they're forced to work against their will, they're forced to have sex, they're beaten constantly, they're not fed correctly, so there's a lot of factors that go into that. Of course, some of the information where I obtained all this was from a non-governmental organization known as Equality Now. So I'm going to go ahead and quote from Equality Now. There's an officer from that organization, so her name is Andrea Matolsky, and she quotes, "There is absolutely a correlation between legalized prostitution and trafficking. For sexual violence and trafficking, for a trafficker, it's much easier to go into a country where it's legal to have brothels, and it's legal to manage people in prostitution. It's just more of an attractive environment." So she's explaining how because of the result of the legalization of prostitution, it's more attractive, or it gives them like a green light for these transnational criminal organizations to bring in women to work in Germany illegally. Because since it's already legal, they feel it's okay to kind of just sneak them into the system and no one's going to notice because it's illegal anyway. So they're not gonna worry about cops breathing down their neck or kicking them off the streets where it would be illegal. But since it is legal, these people just bring in the women as if nothing, because since it's viewed normal in Germany, or viewed okay since it's legalized. So of course with that there was a lot of women that were trafficked. And that was some of the information that I found from Equality Now. Also, Equality Now just gives some numbers which I found pretty astonishing. They said that they've seen widespread exploitation and organized crime in their legalized prostitution sectors in Germany. Also, some of the local police in Bavaria and Augsburg also estimate that about 10% of women in prostitution are in it voluntarily. So that's only 10%. And 90% of the women that are in prostitution are there involuntary. So that's a big number. Of course, this is from Equality Now. You can look it up on their website. They are a non-governmental organization. These are just some of the numbers that I found from the research that I was doing. So it shows that it's a big problem right now in Germany. A lot of these women are being forced against their will to work, especially in the sex industry. And just to give some of the numbers in how big this sex industry is in Germany, there are between 3,000 to 3,500 red light establishments in Germany. Okay, again, this is according to Equality Now. And they say that about 14.5 billion euros in annual revenues from the sex industry in Germany. And again, there was another number that said there was about 44 actual registered prostitutes in Germany, but then they said there's numbers between 400 to 450,000 prostitutes that are not registered. So that's a big number, saying, oh, okay, we have 44 registered prostitutes, but then we have a large number of unregistered. Again, it just supports more of the evidence of the human trafficking in Germany. Aside from that, there's some arguments still from the public that they should ban it. They should go back and ban it, prostitution, of course. But some of the arguments from the public is that they say that it's completely legal because when consenting adults who have sex, when two consenting adults have sex, that there should be no interference from the state. That's a private matter. That's a personal matter. However, there's a lot of people in this business who are brought in at a very young age. This is the other side of the argument, that basically they're not consenting adults, that they're just putting this facade, just kind of basically a front, saying that, oh, everyone's consenting, everyone's it's okay. But we know for a fact that a lot of these women are either below the age of 18 or they were brought against their will, so they're not, in fact, they're not consenting. So that was some of the other data that I was able to find. And it's also reported that 65 to 80% of women who work in the sex business are from abroad, so they're not even from Germany, and a lot of them are forced into the job. And like I said, I did mention an article that I also found on the Foreign Policy Analysis, and from this article, there's some research that was done in the Netherlands and especially in Germany. So some of the information that I got from Germany is that it finds that the legalization of prostitution does lead to an increase in trafficking. Like I said earlier, the article explained how basically because of the country legalizing prostitution, it did give these transnational criminal organizations kind of like the green light, as I said before in the video. Because it was seen okay, as prostitution was seen okay, these organizations kind of just snuck into the system and allowed this human trafficking aspect just to boom in Germany. So basically, from there I did do some research into the article, and it actually offered a solution of how we can help combat the problem in Germany with human trafficking. And in 2009, actually, Germany offered the federal police some training, some kind of law enforcement training against human trafficking, or how to identify human trafficking. So one of the solutions that the article gave is that the federal police, they published a guidance brochure for police, judges, prosecutors, and other officials on providing a professional assistance for sex trafficking victims. Not only providing sex resources for these, or helping these sex trafficking victims, but also Germany did provide ways for the street police to identify signs of human trafficking. Also, Germany actively participates in several regional law enforcement organizations that combat human trafficking. They have, for example, they formed task forces in Germany. One of the task forces is Trafficking in Human Beings under the Stability Pact for Southeastern Europe. So they are starting to realize that it is a problem in Germany. It took them about 7 years to start forming this, but basically Germany realized that human trafficking is a big issue in their country, and now they're starting to form these kind of trainings, specialized trainings for law enforcement. They're also starting to form these task forces and arm their local police to kind of, when they patrol these kind of areas around the brothels and the places where the prostitution is legal, they're able to identify the signs. Okay, they're able to communicate with the people there to make sure that everything is going well. Of course, it's not going to be 100%, but the article did show that because of these trainings and because of these task forces, they are able to successfully decrease the amount of human trafficking in the nation. And in fact, this is a great way for Germany to battle the issue of human trafficking. So like I said, I did some research on all these, on the articles, and looking into the data from Equality Now, and I saw that human trafficking is a big issue in Germany. However, because of the trainings that they are providing local cops and the federal police in Germany, they're able to have a better edge on combating the human trafficking as a result of the legal prostitution. So now the question is Germany right now, are they going to continue to keep prostitution legal? Are they going to reverse it and go back and ban it? Or are they going to place like a tax on it? That's one of the things that they didn't have is a big tax kind of collected, like as if you were going to the groceries, it would be the same thing as buying sex. So to kind of tax that as well. Also, Germany is looking at really closely regulating these type of brothels, making sure that all the women are accounted for, making sure these places are running up to par according to their German standards and so forth. So these are just some of the this is one of the issues that I found in Germany, out of the many issues that I found in the nation, that is really plaguing it right now because of the result of the legalization of prostitution. The result of human trafficking is huge. Like I said, not all European nations have legal prostitution. It's only a few, and Germany is one of those few. So right now, all of Europe is really looking at these countries like Germany, seeing, okay, should we legalize it? What are the benefits? What are the costs? And so forth. So Germany is starting to do something about human trafficking, but there's still a lot of debate on whether they should keep it legal or not. So this is basically the review that I'd like to tell you all about today. If you guys have any questions, or if I didn't clarify something, or you're a little confused, or maybe I didn't make any sense, please just feel free to email me. Or if you want the references or maybe the article that I found or some of the research, just go ahead and send me a message through Angel. I hope you all enjoyed it and you learned something about my country of Germany. So thank you all, and I hope that the audio worked on this video. Thank you.